into the birth sector of the hospital, and they've just decided that's what it's going to be. But what they don't realize is they have so many more options. Me and my baby are one of the statistic of being about 1% that have decided to give birth at home, not by accident, by choice. So I've chased this idea. That's why I found a midwife, I found a doula. I'm keeping my doula like forever. And I'm now going into this birth feeling comfortable and confident with our childbirth education classes, with our hypnobirthing, with all these sessions that I've had the privilege to do with my doula. She has earned my trust tenfold in the most natural way possible, has so many benefits, including early latching, skin-to-skin contact, which is really important. Because skin-to-skin contact, what people don't realize is when you're in hospital or a C-section, your baby gets taken away immediately, okay? That cuts the bonding immediately. And what you don't realize is the moment that there's skin-to-skin contact with you and your baby, your hormones are adapting for your child and for yourself. This is extremely imperative when it comes to postpartum. There's a lot of women that when their children get taken away, that A, they have problems latching, and B, they end up with the baby blues, which is postpartum depression. Okay? Your obstetrician is a surgeon, okay? They're very good at it. Yes, we need obstetricians. They're phenomenal, especially when the case arises and there's an emergency, you need them. Yes, we need them. But you know what we need more? Midwives. You know what we need more? More natural, at-home, safe births. You know what we need more? Doulas. Our bodies have been designed to do this. We can do this. As long as everything's healthy, your body's healthy, your baby's healthy, your pregnancy's healthy, there's absolutely no reason why you should be going to a surgeon to have your baby. I'm very much aware that this time in my life and many other pregnant women that we are bringing our children into this very strange time with the coronavirus happening and the death rates being at 1.4% worldwide. I think right now in Florida, as of March 26th, from the CDC website, Florida is the 5th highest cases and death rate for this virus in the US. I do understand we're entering that time, and it's quite scary, but it's the realest thing that's happening right now. I do, as of right now, I still do feel privileged living in the US with the healthcare system. I do feel that there's plenty of things that need to be fixed. I still do feel that the US is doing the most they can, considering we haven't been exposed to a pandemic like this in so long, especially in our lifetime, or at least in my lifetime and the baby's lifetime. I think it's very important to know that we're doing our best. The US economy is doing its best. The healthcare is doing its best. And we are in a race against an unknown enemy. So I think it's important to know that we cannot hold standards to the healthcare system when we had no idea this would happen. I think very much doctors and nurses and the healthcare system in general is a little overwhelmed right now, and I think that's completely normal. But I do still feel that the US is one of the top countries in the world where they're able to handle this, and in the most fast fashion and most medically advanced fashion. Initially, when I became pregnant, I was with an obstetrician. I was with an OB/GYN, and I just assumed that, like the rest of the herd, I'd go to the hospital, have my baby. I didn't think twice whether I wanted an epidural or not. I just figured I'd go. If it happens, it happens. Oh well. Didn't really realize how much research went into actually giving birth. I was at my chiropractor one time. Her name is Dolores Garcia. She works for Awesome Chiropractics. And I was getting an adjustment, and I told her I was pregnant, and she asked me what my birth plan was, and I said, well, I'm with a gyno, and I'm gonna have my baby at Mount Sinai, just like everybody else, because that's what's recommended. And quite frankly, she looked at me and she said, why would you birth in a hospital? And I said to her, I said, well, why wouldn't I? She's like, you're the healthiest person I know. I birthed all my 3 kids at home, and you're 10 times healthier than me. Why wouldn't you birth at home? And I'm like, And it made me think, because my sister birthed all 3 of her kids at home. Then also my husband's sister-in-law birthed all 3 kids that were at home. So I know it's a possibility, but I never thought that would be a possibility for me. And I started looking into more research. And it turns out a year prior, I was talking to a South African girlfriend of mine in the yachting industry. Her name's Nicolese. And she had told me when she was going through pregnancy that she had a doula and she had a midwife. So I had all these questions for her. But to be quite honest with you, I didn't know what a doula was. Because why would I pay for a doula when I have a midwife? Like, why? What separates the two? Well, after my insane amount of research on the internet and talking with people, I decided to give Anasuya a call and set up an interview. And keep in mind, this is setting up the interview while I'm in the midst of trying to actually find a midwife, which I was only able to do around month 5 of my pregnancy. And that's also when I met my doula. But when I met her, started talking with her, and I just instantly knew from the moment I entered her house that she was it. Like, I'm keeping her. I just go around collecting people, and she was one of them. So I knew for a fact I wanted her there. Her soul is calm, and she's just this goddess of a woman. She's like Mother Nature in human form, and namaste, and everything she does is the most truest form of natural beauty I've ever seen. And she created this platform for me to be completely calm, and I'm not a calm person at all. And so I already knew from that moment that it was important for me to have her there at my birth, and it was important for me to contract her. She even made the suggestion that I search for other doulas, and she gave me a list. She gave me a list of midwives, and I said no. And she looked at me, she's like, what do you mean no? And I said, I'm not researching any more doulas, like, I'm keeping you. And she laughed. She probably didn't think I was serious, but here we are. I'm sitting now 8 months pregnant. I'm 36 weeks, so just over 8 months. But I'm keeping her, and quite frankly, what I've already learned, and I've yet to go into the birthing process with her, but a doula is a very important thing, I think, for many women, not just birthing at home, but for at the hospital, because you get that emotional connection, and you have somebody that can relate to you with what they went through and help you go through one of the most beautiful experiences in your life, but also the most vulnerable. So I think it's important to have this person who is literally a guardian of your birth plan, a guardian of your baby, and a guardian of your life at that point, because she's leading you into this unknown territory. And I mean, they're worth their weight in gold, tenfold, and I would highly recommend getting a doula. Doesn't matter how you choose to birth, hopefully it's a natural birth, but I'm telling you, it's next level. So I will tell you, as of now, March 26th, I've been a part of this group chat on what to expect. So a lot of mothers that are soon to be due in April, a lot of them have had their babies already, but the vast majority have not. And we're all entering around the same weeks. There's some in 32 weeks, 34 weeks, and whatnot. But what I'm starting to notice on the online forum of the group chats is a lot of doctors recommending these mothers get an induction early. And there's also a lot of mothers that are asking for an induction early. And it's becoming more apparent to these women. And when we're supposed to be in nesting phase right now, we're supposed to be focusing on this baby coming very soon. And we're supposed to be calm, we're supposed to be nesting. And we have been thrown into this whirlwind of uncertainty with the hospitals, with the healthcare system, with this virus going around, having to be stuck at home. You're not supposed to go out unless it's for essential travel, for groceries or healthcare. But what's happening now, and this has progressed over the weeks, at first they said that if you end up coming into labor and delivery, you can only have one person with you, right? So now these mothers are now going into birthing when they expected to have several people around them to support them during this birthing process. And now they've been only limited to one. And once the person enters the room, they cannot leave and they cannot switch out with somebody else. So there's a lot of women that are having a dilemma to choose between their husband or their mom or their midwife or their doula. And so there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety that goes along with it. But this has caused women to ask to be induced early because the hospital that they're birthing in hasn't changed yet, or they know it's about to change, so they're trying to have their children early. And some doctors are actually recommending that. And to me, I fully believe that your baby is safer inside of you than it is outside of you. And I do fully believe that if you're a healthy pregnant woman and you're having a healthy pregnancy and you have a healthy baby, that you should definitely look more to the aspect of having an at-home birth. Yes, it's a stressful time, and I wish more women would educate themselves to decide on this way before this even happened. And I think after this pandemic is over, I think a lot of women are going to start to see a different side of pregnancy and a different side of preparing for birth. And I think that the number will climb up in regards to home births, specifically because of what's happening right now. I think it's very dangerous for doctors to ask mothers to be induced early, especially if they're healthy. I think it's very dangerous for mothers in general to be asked to get a C-section early or an induction early. None of this is natural. The child's not ready to come out. The immune system's compromised. And quite frankly, when you bring in your child so early and the immune system is compromised, you're putting your child more at risk than you would be to have a full-term baby. So I don't agree with what's happening right now. I see this all over the place, and it's quite alarming. And I'm just so thankful that I'm not in the position. I'm already stressed out where I am in my life right now, and I've already chosen to have a home birth prior to all this happening. But it even rectifies my decision even more so now, because had I not made that decision, I would sure change it very quickly, because there's always a risk that you will actually have more problems at the hospital in regards to viruses or colds or coughs and germs, etc. That's why there's so many shots involved when newborns come to this world. But more so, I think it's important to safeguard your home. You're in more control of your home and more in control of who comes there. And that is so important, especially during a time like this. My midwife that I currently have, which I want you to know, I interviewed 6 midwives. So I took this thing pretty seriously, and I wanted to make sure I got the right one. So I put them through the ringer, and I picked the best out of the 6. And heck, if my husband wasn't so frustrated, I probably would have gone through 10. But I picked the one that was right for us, and I've been with her now for a few months. It's just a little bit of a stressful time, but what I can tell you is the birth center that they operate out of has taken precautions by spacing out their patients or their mothers. And they space them out so nobody's sitting in the waiting room at any given time. So you have, I think, 30 minutes in between each appointment. So what they've done is everywhere in the world right now, I'm sure, has upped the ante on sanitizing everything in between, washing hands, etc., doing all they can, basically. Not touching the same pen, having hand sanitizer for all the guests or patients coming in. And I think that's very important. I will tell you that I'm at a very stressful time in my pregnancy, and it shouldn't be that stressful right now. I should be nesting and I should be calm, cool, relaxing. I'm not, and I'm trying my hardest to get to that point. So there's a lot of meditation involved. What I can tell you is I was supposed to have, now coming up, because I'm coming up 36 weeks, I'm supposed to have an appointment every single week now. So now what happened is I got a message from my midwife that I saw her last Friday. This past Monday, they've also said that if anybody's feeling sick or whatnot, you cannot come to any appointments. So that's one of the things that they've put in place. As of this past Monday, somebody came in knowingly with symptoms. Very angry about this. Came in with symptoms showing sickness and fever, etc. Came in Monday, and automatically when my midwife saw this person, she sent her straight at the office and sent her home. Immediately they locked down the birth center. All the appointments are canceled. She's now locked in her house, quarantined for the next 14 days. So not only do I not get to have any of my appointments for the next 14 days, I just pray to God that this baby, which I've had conversations with, you're not allowed to come early, period. Like, stay in there, you need to bake longer. Now I have not only the stress of this coronavirus thing happening and this pandemic happening in the world, which is constantly being bombarded on social media and internet, and people, it's all people want to talk about. I mean, you look outside, nothing's going on. Like, it's the least amount of traffic, which is my favorite part in Miami so far. But we're at this weird time where I'm supposed to be calm and patient and excited, and I'm not. I'm stressed out because I do not want this baby to come early. This will force me to go into the hospital, which is even more terrifying of the fact of going into the hospital to give birth than it is to give birth at home alone without a midwife. Given the circumstances, what's happening with COVID-19 in the US right now, I'm seeing a lot of doctors cancel appointments. I'm even seeing midwives cancel appointments and doing telehealth, doing things online, doing things on the telephone instead. It's a little concerning for pregnant women that are this far in their pregnancy, because this is when we should be getting the measurements of how big the baby is. This is when we should be getting our checkups, more importantly, every single week until birth. So it's a little disconcerting when it comes to what position we're in. But at the end of the day, Anisha, this is what's been presented and we have to deal with it. So we have to kind of take a step back and realize there's nothing we can do about it. So what's your next step? What are you going to decide to do next? And so, as I said, we have to stay calm. Easier said than done, as I said before, but we have to just accept with what's happening in the world right now. And we are still pretty lucky that we even still have that opportunity to have Wi-Fi and internet and have the availability to still talk to these practitioners or midwives or nurses, etc. So it's a stressful time. Nothing we can do about it. But at least I think the world is now coming into a different time where we have to see and provide other options to people, because we didn't see this coming. And I think people jumped to it very quickly about how they could make this work to the best of their ability. I definitely plan on breastfeeding. It's one of the most important things for me. Also, my birth assistant, my midwife's birth assistant, she's also a lactation consultant. They are worth their weight in gold, okay? I've spoken to many mothers that have fallen apart in the first week, or it's too painful, or this or this or this. Add A, B, C, D, E, all the way to Z of the list of problems. I think that no matter what, you need to do your research. No matter what, you need to surround yourself with the supportive network of people that are experts in that field. I have somebody lined up for lactation already. And another thing that I've taken one step further, especially with what's given in the current climate right now, I would rather not have formula on hand to give to my child if something happens breast-wise, whether it's tongue tie, whether it's a latching issue, whatever the case may be. So I've actually contacted one of my doulanda sisters, and we happen to share the same name. Hi, Jade. And she had a very difficult time breastfeeding, but then she had a lot of help, and guess what? Now she is overproducing, and she has given the authority to Anasuya, which is our doula, to reach out to other moms should the case arise that they need breast milk. So actually, after this interview, I'm going to be heading to her house to collect some breast milk, just in case, and she happened to have some from the first month of pregnancy, or the first month postpartum. So I'm really excited to have that on hand and have it in the freezer should the need arise where I'm having struggling issues with breastfeeding. But it's extremely important that I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to keep trying until it works, because at the end of the day, this is the most natural thing you can provide for your baby. And the amount of antibodies and everything you're providing to your child is the most incredible thing. The human body, the female pregnant body, motherhood is the most incredible thing that I'm currently experiencing. And I think a lot of women would agree with me. And I would really love that opportunity to breastfeed. I think it's very important. And I will push, come hell or high water, to breastfeed as much as possible and as long as possible. So we'll see, fingers crossed. I would highly suggest you do your research. If you're healthy, do your research in a more natural, progressive way. I think it is going to pick up, especially after this COVID-19 pandemic happening worldwide. I know a lot of women are scrambling right now to see if they can have an at-home birth. So people are scrambling to find midwives and doulas, which I hope they will find them. I really, really hope so. They're in high demand right now, which nobody expected, and it's a good thing and also a bad thing because you want to be prepared. So I can't imagine how women are stressed out right now. But, so first off, look into birthing in general. Look into your options. If you are going to have a hospital birth, you can still have a natural birth at hospital. You don't need an epidural. You don't need Pitocin. Our bodies are designed to handle this. The only thing I recommend, and as I said, easier said than done, and I'm yet to do this, it's coming up. If you can stand out of your own way and just be the observer and watch your body do the work, take your mind out of it and just observe it, because birth is not happening to you, it's happening to your body. It's happening to your baby. Your body knows exactly what to do. So if you can just get out of your own headspace and just allow your body to do what it needs to do, you will be fine. You will be fine. Also, don't think that by you getting a birth at home or having a birth at home, that means if a complication arises, you're in trouble now because you can't go to the hospital. That's not what it is. When you're planning to do an at-home birth, you have plan A, you have plan B, you have plan C, you have the list goes on. You have all these things. And when you do a birth plan, we personally like to say birth preference, because when most people have a plan and it doesn't go exactly as planned, they get very anxious and fearful. So preferences. If you have preferences, just know that preferences change all the time. If you can just, Anisha, if you can just go with the flow and allow whatever needs to happen for your baby to come out, you'll be 10 times better and 10 times thankful for a much better birthing experience. All these important things that happen that people don't actually do the research for, this has been the most eye-opening experience I've ever gone through. And it's been the most calming thing I've ever gone through in my entire life, and I'm hoping to carry that through to the birth. But it just so happens that I am the statistic now. My child's the statistic that we are going to be born. The baby's going to be born in a pandemic time. So, Anisha, just go with the flow, stay calm, let your body do what it needs to do, let your baby come out naturally and healthy, latch, get all the good nutrients, and don't forget, there is a possibility that you can actually, if you talk to your doula or your midwives, there are services that you can actually get the placenta dehydrated and turn into capsules, okay? This is after, by the way, after birth, you actually get 1 or 2 shakes. So there's some placenta in the shake, and it actually increases your hormones, it increases your iron levels, and it actually balances out your hormones to help you for the upcoming days of postpartum, which is also known as the 4th trimester. So check into those details. I just recommend all of you to stay calm. If you are healthy and your baby's healthy, definitely look into an at-home birth right now. Because I can't imagine how much stress you're going through, as I know how much stress I'm going through already, knowing that I was going to deliver at home. So I hope it works out for you. I hope it works out for me. And soon have a follow update, and we will let you know all how it goes.
Namaste.
Namaste.